Greetings. I'm horologist in Carew. On the behalf of myself and KTL University, we would like to invite you for our online Zoom class, March the 27th, 11 o'clock, 2022. We will present the power of precious metals, where you will have the opportunity to learn the concept of building wealth with gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and rhodium. You will also learn the foundation of the abundantness of these metals through the health benefits, the wealth benefits, and the spirituality benefits. For every 20th person that signs up for this class, you receive this beautiful silver 925 sterling silver pendant that is featured on the front of the book, I Am Rich. The spaces are limited, so act now.
Yes, indeed, family. Yes, indeed. Make sure you go to Know the Ledge, KTLUniversity.com, and get your tickets. All right. Peace to the family. Peace to you and yours. Welcome to another episode of Know the Ledge. We have our special guest in the building, none other than the Blue Pillar. All right. Okay. Wavy Crockett.
Yeah. Peace to the family. Peace, love, and light. Brother Blue Port, live and direct to you. We in the building. All right. And we have a very special program to commemorate and bring to the masses on this beautiful evening. Get yourselves comfortable. Tell a friend to pull up. You know what I mean? Because it's definitely going to be a memorable one.
Yes, indeed. I don't even want to hold y'all up. We're going to do the roll call. Let's go ahead and do the roll call and see who's in the building. And then we're going to open up the floor for our guest tonight. All right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. All right. Let's do the roll call. Let's see who is in the building. We have Midwest Georgia in the building. Salute to Midwest Georgia. Peace. All right. Who else do we have? We got Memphis in the building. All right. Memphis in the building. Kansas City in the building. Chicago in the building. Shout out to Texas in the building. Northwest Georgia in the building. Houston is in the building. All right. Peace to Houston. Lexington, Bay Area in the building. Tyler, Texas in the building. What's good, Tyler, Texas? We see you. Australia, Fiji Islands. All right. Illinois, the BX, DC, Tallahassee, Charlotte, VA, West Philly, Milwaukee, St. Louis. All right, now we got Canada in the building. Shout out to Canada. Make sure everybody hits the like button. Make sure you hit the share button. Make sure you sign up for the notifications so you could be tapped in. All right. Houston, by the way, your XRP spaceship. I hear that, man. Talk that sass. Miami is in here. Riverside is in here. Birmingham Veg is in here. UK. That's signing in from the KTL mothership. That's right. I hear that. Beaumont. Okay. The Tremont section of the BX. South Philly, LA. Okay. So I don't want to rush y'all, but we got a Grenada in the building. Nottingham, England. Mondem from across the pond. In it. All right. Ankh Ma'at. Yes, Hotep brother Jamal Milton. That new project that you put out is fire. Salute to the God, right? Charting on iTunes. I see you. Jersey in the building. Okay, Thomasville, Georgia in the building. All right, so we got 100 people in the building. We already know that we here. The family is here. Salute to everybody for joining us. We have a very powerful show. I mentioned the loss, or not the loss, but I spoke of the fact that the ancestors had gained more warriors in the past few weeks, right? And it reminded me of the beginning of this quote unquote pandemic when we lost another group of soldiers and frontline warriors when the ancestor round gained Baba Kalindi, Dr. Africa, Minister Hafiz Muhammad, and a few other notable giants in this community. And in the past few weeks in Harlem, specifically in New York City, there's the ancestors have gained another group and another collective of some great frontline soldiers, some great ancestors that you may not have been 100% familiar with because contrary to popular belief, everybody is not in front of the camera. Everybody doesn't have colorful names on, the socials and whatnot. And everybody is not out here vying for the title of the master teachers and whatnot. But we know behind the scenes, when these cameras are off, when nobody is really looking, that's where a lot of the real power rests. So we're going to speak about some of these giants and whatnot, and we're going to pay homage to them. And we're also going to bring on our family, our network, our elders and whatnot to speak life to our good brothers and whatnot, so we can edify their legacy and their memory. And we're going to have a powerful conversation tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to open up these lines so we could get this conversation started. So without any further ado, I want to open up the line for our master teacher, the elder Professor James Smalls. Peace.
And peace and blessings to the audience, ledge, and the participant of the ledge. I think we should have let Nova open up because he's on the family committee to kind of bring us up to date about the transitioning of one of our giant brothers, Brother ROC.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
I'm here as his elder.
I got to keep up with tradition. I can't have you waiting and bring you on last. The elders come first, but I'm definitely going to go ahead and open up the line for our good brother, Nana Asari Nova. Peace, love, and light, my good brother. Greetings. Your audio.
Peace, family. Peace to No Ledge Media. Peace to Red. Peace to Blue. Professor.
Yes.
Tonight, we're here to raise the spirit of my big brother, my elder brother, Ronell Rockwell Barber, who is a pillar in the Harlem community and the global community. If it were not for him, maybe I don't go to Ghana the same way. We're putting together his burial at the moment. We're going forward with a GoFundMe. We're also putting together a presentation page with a landing page where people can speak about him, talk about his contributions of over 30 years to this movement. Professor Smalls will tell you, without Rock, maybe Professor Smalls is not on Hidden Colors, and he will let us know about that. He's spoken about that over the last few days. So that was the kind of energy that this brother brought. He was kind of like, my protection coming all the way from Queens to Harlem. You know what I'm saying? That type of brother. And, Professor, I didn't even know. I learned on the family call the other night that Rock didn't do funerals. So I didn't understand. And they said him and his brother didn't do funerals. And I didn't know that because when I called on him for my family, when my father transitioned, Rock was right there assisting you, Professor, through all the rites and the rituals. And that was the type of brother that he was. He would put away what he needed to put away. He would always not ask for help, but he would always help others and when he wanted. So today we're on here to raise his spirit, his vibration, and the love and the reminders he gave us about Black history and Black economics and the importance of those things. And we want to help him, his family, and in particular his two young boys, raising this money on the way in which we're doing it. And GoFundMe is is an African tradition. I've seen it in East Africa in my own family, and I've seen it as a Nana in Ghana, coming together. And we have to raise these giants. Maybe like you said, they don't have all of the so-called credentials, are not vying for master teacher. But we're here to raise that spirit, and we're here to ask this community for their support. And to continue raising that spirit and continue to do the work that KTL, Red and Blue, Professor Smalls, myself, Brother Rock, Brother Taki, who will come on later, are doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to do this. You know, I want to bring everybody in who has pulled up and give everybody the opportunity to get on this stage so we can have a dialogue, a powerful dialogue, and we can edify our good brother Rock. Okay. So the next guest that I want to bring up is a staple in Harlem, not just in Harlem. This man is a staple on a global scale. He was very instrumental in the days of Sonetta TV, House of Consciousness. He was also very instrumental in what we could call Black economics, being that that's the conversation that we're going to have. This man was a store owner. When I got to Harlem in 2005, he had the Soul Brothers Boutique, and he was pushing out some very powerful images and motifs and whatnot. And he was also ahead of the curve when it came to the wave that became very trendy of, you know, wearing your quote unquote culture on your chest, right? He even inspired me when Kings County was coming about. And this brother has been who he says he is ever since I known him. Very solid individual. This good brother needs no introduction. I'm going to open up the floor for our good brother Sutek Amin Ra.
To this day,
The legend. What's good, my brother?
Baba Smalls, what's going on? Know the ledge, Nova. How y'all doing?
Man, it feels like back in the days.
Yo,
right now. You feel
my
me?
internet is, I'm out here in the country.
I feel
my
you.
internet is kind of crazy, so if I go in and out, forgive me. But
good, brother. Don't
Professor
worry about
Smalls,
it.
how
It's
you
good to
doing,
see
brother?
you.
I'm doing good, Sutek.
Okay.
You know,
hey, good to see y'all, man.
Doing a lot of lectures in your store back in the day. You know.
Yes.
Absolutely,
and our next guest, I want to also bring on to the stage.
Me and Nova
our
used to
guest.
do all the festivals together. That was my business partner right there, me and Nova.
Yo.
Right.
So, man, it's good seeing y'all brothers.
Taught me a lot, bro.
Good seeing y'all brothers.
Yes.
I remember Rock was also at all of these festivals.
But you know, we're gonna do this brother right.
Yes.
That's right. So the next guest that I want to bring on, I just saw this brother in Atlanta for the screening of the Happy movie, right? I remember when this good brother was telling me the idea that he had to create a documentary, right? To highlight and to pay homage to the ancestors based off of the what he was receiving and what he was learning and what he was encountering on trips to Kemet and other places abroad and whatnot. And I remember idea going to conception, and then I remember conception going to finished product, and then I remember being in a theater and watching it on 100-foot screen, and it blew me away. And I'm so very proud of this brother. I'm so proud of his movement. I'm so proud of the people that are with him that have created this this brand, the Happy brand and whatnot. Without any further ado, I want to open up the lines for our good brother Taki. Peace,
everyone.
Peace to the God. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Just making it through. I'm definitely happy that we put this together for our brother Rock. He's definitely a legend. It will be dearly missed, but we know we have an ally on the other side, an ancestral realm to help us see this through. So this is good energy, and we want to keep his name alive, like the brother Nova said.
Yes, indeed. Can you tell the family briefly about the Happy series and what compelled you to put that together?
Shit, a lot of it was Rock. So just kind of going back to the early 2000s, like 2005, 6, we did the Nubia documentary. This is on the heels of a trip that Dr. J and I took to Sudan. And we first came back, we didn't even know we had what we had in our hands until I started showing people the videos. And a lot of it was kind of like just taking just to document our experience, you know, down, up and down the Nile. And
Right.
we took that information and compiled Nubia, the Untold Story. Realized that's a huge part of our history that's just untold. There's more pyramids in Sudan than there are in Egypt, but very little people know anything about that. So immediately following that, we did the Tekken, uncovering the influence of ancient Egypt. And I paused for about good 5 years, 5-6 years. I kept seeing Rock. I would run into him at Red Rooster. You know, we partying.
Right.
You know, we didn't come there together, but I'm partying. And he in my ear told me I'd do another film. And I'm like, I already kind of switched the directions. It was going another way. And he just kept, every time I see him, just kept at me, kept pushing me to do it. But the concept of HAPI already existed. And it was something we were working on like around 2011 that just kind of just dealt with the relationships of the Kingdom of the Nile, because that's really the way in which Kemet is taken out of Africa and Egypt is placed in the Middle East by severing the ties between Nubia and Egypt, by making it seem like they're different people, different places.
Right.
So that was always a big push for mine, to make it seem like, you know, kind of bringing that back. So I already had the concept from that perspective, but it was Rock that gave it the economic spin. You know what I mean? And
Right.
once it hit me in the head with that, and I was like, you know what, damn, when you really started to really think and take a pause, the relationships between kingdoms barely, you know, by and large, was an economic relationship, because they depended on
bartering and trading, correct?
Exactly. And the wars they may have fought with between themselves and other people, a lot of times was through trade routes.
Right.
So, you know, from that, and then a lot of conversations I had with Professor Smalls about the migration, ecology, and all that other stuff, and Dr. Jeffrey's pyramid analysis of economic politics and culture, it all just made sense. You know, so we started working on HAPI in really kind of the early part of 2016. We started really started putting the elements together. You know what I'm saying? I started meeting other people, Brother C. Haru, you know what I'm saying, who did the majority of the filming, you know, the you know, director photography, things like that. So, you know, it was a lot of people involved, and it just kind of evolved. But one of the things that Rock and I had conversations with, because at this point, before we really started going to production, I was like, you know what, I really just don't want to do another film. At this point, Hidden Colors, everything came out, you know, Christ Amadeus was doing his thing. I was like, you know what, it has to be something more. You know what I mean? Did Nubia, did the Tekken. So it was like, you know what, well, whatever we're going to do has to be a movement. And you know what I'm saying? Rock and I, we coined it the HAPI movement. So that's really what this has been about. You know what I'm saying? Really the movement, pushing beyond, you know what I'm saying, with the 2-hour film. If you can't do nothing beyond that, then why you bother? Why you wasting your time? So
question. Do you have the poster, or do you have a physical product? Because I'm assuming that there's people in the audience that may have never seen.
Right. Yeah, let me get one of the DVDs. Give me 1 second.
We also have another guest in the building. I'm going to open up your line in a minute, my good brother Ronald.
So here's a copy of the HAPI DVD, the award-winning documentary. They can get this at happyfilm.com. We spoke earlier about Nubia. This is, people have been around for a while, probably seen this cover. And this is right here is the Tekken. You know, these are the old joints that we did many years ago.
I remember that was fire.
You know what I mean? So yeah, the Tekken was like 2008, 2009, you know. So we was, you know, we've been doing this for a minute. So, but yeah, now the Brother Rock really was the inspiration behind a lot of this. Like I said, when I was early part of HAPI, I was actually in Egypt 2012 trying to film it myself. Wasn't working. I just shelved it. You know what I mean? We did a lot that year, 2011. We was up in Boston, did the bus trips, you know. Yeah, we did, you know, we was doing the tour to the Museum of Fine Arts.
Right, I remember that.
Right. We was doing the Museum of Fine Arts tours, and we was bringing the people from New York, 3-4 bus loads of people, and we had people come through, you know, give the lectures and stuff like that. So, you know, we were doing some powerful things, and then some things happened. We just kind of had to put a pause on everything. So Barack was the one that kind of was like, yo, it's time to come out of retirement, you know. So it kind of pushed me to kind of start doing what we're doing again.
Indeed. Professor James Smalls, I know that wherever you went and whenever you made public appearances, I remember a lot of House of Consciousness events, and you were always accompanied by our good brother Rock. You know, that brother was always holding it down. If the people, I'm sure, you know, for the audience out there that's not familiar with his energy and whatnot and what he brought to the table, he exemplified what his name said, the rock. Like he moved like a rock. You know, he had a very non-threatening, but yet a very stern presence. You know, he was very stern in his approach. You know, you knew that he wasn't there to kind of like play games with people and whatnot, but it wasn't like he was utilizing that to be overbearing and things of that nature. I just want to get some reflections from you, Professor, of our good brother and what he meant to the movement.
Yes, sir. And I'm sure I knew Rock longer than anyone else in the room. I knew him at his very young days. Wow, it's I guess almost 30 years ago when we met at City College. Sister Oforwa introduced him. And at the time, he was a student at Hunter College. And working with Dr. Clark and Marimba Ani, and they were building, we had initiated the Sons and Daughters of Africa at City College, and they replicate that down at Hunter College. So that we go back there. And then just moving around the first world, him and Sekou and Big Man, you know, selling the tapes. They were the main merchants with the tapes in those days. And we watched them evolve from the little cassette to the, you know, the bigger
VHS to the DVD.
And just all the way up. But we really got close when we started about 16 years ago to work on the Sauna Lodge Hotel project in Ghana. And I needed someone to move with me back and forth, sometimes 2-3 times a year, sometimes going over and staying for 2 months. And the brother that said, yo, I'll do that with you was Brother Rock. And so we had, as an organization, the African American Management Group in America, we had raised $1 million in 2 years and we bought the facility. But once we bought the facility, somebody had to go over there and get it rolled out, get it started, do the shakedown, do the maintenance, hire the staff. And Rock and I took that job on. And this was not a salary job. This was just movement stuff. We just did it. People, you know, the organization most time paid for our trips, or I paid for it, make sure we could cover our bills while we were gone and stuff like that. But we took an old broken down hotel and made it the hottest hotel in town, you know.
Beautiful.
Sauna Lodge got to be the place to go. It got to be such that we were sending out spillovers to other hotels every week. And we moved all around the country in government. We, you know, I was very close to President Jerry Rawlings, so we could go knock on the president's door, you know. We were close to a number of the kings, and they took Rock as their son because he looked like a couple of them. I mean, you could swear that's their son, right? And they just had this love for Rock walking in the door. He made friends in the community. He knew how to go in the community and meet the people on the ground. You know, I go into the bars, I'm looking and trying to check in, and dudes runs, you ain't got about nothing. I'm Rock's fan. I'm black. You know, we got your problem. I go like, damn. You know, he was like that. He could let people know if Prof walk into the spot, y'all got him, and he didn't have to be there. And that's the way, and people handle it like that. And when we're in the Capitol, Brother Brain, I can go to any spot, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, hang out, have a little drink, talk, and have fun. And Brain would be there because Rock had made that phone call and said, Prof in the country, cover down.
Right.
And he had that kind of thing with people, that kind of, you know, immediate hookup. But he was deep in our history and deep in the culture and deep in the politics. But his main thing was the economics. You know, Dr. Jeffries had taught us to look at it in the 3 parts: economic, politics, and culture, and that marriage and how it worked together. And so Rock took for himself that part on economics. You know, I took the culture piece. Dr. J stayed on the political piece. And in our discussions, when we were trying to even build a hotel, we weren't just talking about a hotel. We were beginning to put a museum in place as the hotel. The hotel would be a hotel museum. You know what I'm saying? Right. We were trying to do long distance learning with the Black colleges and university here and the university there, because we were 10 minutes walk from Cape Coast University, one of the biggest in Ghana. And the hotel sits in the middle of 5 of the best high schools in Ghana. So we were working a lot of different things at the same time. And then, you know, working with the different, we talk about the hotel, but I keep forgetting, we started a credit union that was based at the hotel, you know?
Yes, Professor, I remember.
Started a credit union, correct?
A credit union, yeah, a real credit union.
Right.
Licensed and everything, based at Sana Lodge. That was based on Brother Cohane and Brother Rock, looking at the economic piece to get our people who were living there to begin to pool their monies, you know, looking at Black Wall Street back in the days, looking at Maggie Walker and building her bank system in Virginia, and saying we can do that today. If they could do with as little of what they had then, we who had moved into Ghana, and at that time it was about 6,000 African Americans living in Ghana. And we were in this, what you call the central region. So it was about 1,000 us living down there. So we said, why can't we come together with our little bit of money, create this credit union? And this one need a loan to fix up his place or do this and stuff, they can come to the union, you know? And over time we would build it. And so it's still growing. And so his mind around economics, though we were a hotel, we were the biggest caterers in Cape Coast region at that time.
Beautiful.
Because again, Rock saw this whole thing of why do they have to go into the capital to bring food up here? We could provide that food. We got a kitchen because we have
some of the best food over there, brother.
Yeah,
some of the best.
And so it was his idea of how to be an African person. He didn't exaggerate. You didn't see him running around with no big booba and kufi and hat on the side. He always had whatever the contemporary dress was, in t-shirt, jeans, sneakers, hat kind of flipped to the side a little bit and tipped. Whatever the latest trend was across his hat.
That's it.
If he said Africa Fly, by morning he had an African Fly hat, you know.
Right.
And so
there you go.
He made out being African simple. You didn't have to have no money to buy all this African clothes and lock your hair and do all that's cool, but he didn't have to do that. He just had on his jeans, his sneakers, and his t-shirt, and the cap. But he studied the history, studied the culture, studied economics, knew that economics would move us to that next space. If we were truly going to be free, you can have the history. We had that for a long time. You could have the culture. We had that for a long time. But if you don't put that economic pillar in the middle like a Tekken, it wouldn't all come together. And he understood that. He understood it.
Indeed. Real quick, I want to open up the floor for our other guests. We have another guest in the building, our good brother Ronald McCants. All right. So without any further ado, I want to open up the line for our good brother Ronald. Peace, King.
Yeah, peace, Professor Smalls. Peace, Twin, Red Pill and Blue Pill.
Peace,
Nova,
King.
Paki, Sutek. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Welcome to the platform. Before I continue, I want to know, brother Nana, sorry, do we have? Can you share your screen? Do we have a picture or any type of visuals of our good brother?
Yeah, I should have sent you all of that earlier. My fault.
Nah, it's all good.
Let me send it. Make it simple. Yeah. While I'm doing this, when brother Ronald is here, right, of the our Gullah Geechee McCants, right?
That's right.
Right. The reason why I wanted brother Ron and brother Quantu to come on, but brother Quantu took his wife out tonight. It was date night, so he couldn't be on. But brother Ronald goes back friendship with Rock over 30 years. They both kind of grew up in that Harlem area, and brother Ronald has told me some amazing just how they hooked up. 42nd Street, 125th Street, and just moving in that Harlem movement. I would just love for him to share some of that history that we talked about last night, brother. It was amazing. And I gotta say that, you know, without Rock, I would not know you, Ron. I would not know Quantu, and I don't think I would be as close to Professor as I am. And he even put me and Brother Sutek even closer. It was like we were like the three amigos over there on 125th Street, brother.
That's y'all work.
You know, and so I would love for Brother Ronald to just share that 1980s, 1990s, Mark 125 and all of that, just quick history on Brother Rock, if you could.
Oh yeah, definitely. I first met Rockwell. I first met Brother Rock late summer of 1990. Like I said, like Nova said, we had a mutual friend, Khalid Quantu Bey, and he used to sell books down on Times Square, African history books.
Right.
And so I met him through Quantu, and I remember the first time I met him, you know, I gave him a pound and a big bear hug. He was like, "Yo, what's up, Ron? What's up, G?" And we, you know, we hugged each other and stuff. And I liked his energy. He just had a positive energy. I remember at that time he was strong into metaphysics. And I remember he had the Unchi necklace on, and he would always wear like pants with different colors on them, because you know he said that the different colors like symbolize different forms of energy, and they helped with his mood, stuff like that. So, and he was always on the move. He was always on the move, because he would be with me and Quantu at the table. Then he'd be like, "Yo, I'll be back, G. I'm gonna go talk to the Muslims down the block." And I would turn my head and turn back, and Rock would be gone. He would be all the way down the block in like 3 seconds, you know. And around this time, I was 23. My friend Quantu was 21. Rock was 22. And he was always a mover and shaker. He was always moving, making power moves. You know, I would see him on 125th Street. He was the type of brother, you know, he was very attentive. He was a good listener, but at the same time, I could tell he was always thinking 20, 30 steps ahead. He was always thinking about other stuff, you know, in terms of ideas and making power moves. He was a mental multitasker.
Yes, he was.
And I remember when he worked in the mart for Amon Ice's bookstore. I remember he worked for them. And I remember Professor Griff used to be up in there, and Rock would always mess with Khalid Muhammad. He would always mess with him, because Khalid would come in there, and I think Khalid was you know, joking or whatever. He'd be like, "Brother, this book, Brother Rock, this book is too expensive, brother." And Rock would be like, "Come on, G, stop it, Khalid." Stop playing, you know. And you know, that's how Rock was. He'd give you the shirt off his back. And but like Professor Small said, you try to play him across him, he's coming straight African warrior with it. He's like the youth say today, bringing the smoke. He would bring the smoke, the fire, the burning building, all of that, you know. But Rock, you know, Rock had a good heart. That was, you know, that was my brother. That was my fan. And like I said, I known him since 1990. And I sent a picture to the Rock Fund, to the Telegraph, with me, Brother Quantu, Rock, my brother Samson, and Brother Phil. I sent that picture to share with everybody. That was like in the summer of '91, and we're taking pictures in front on 125th in front of the Malcolm X picture, you know. And yeah, Rock, you know. And every time I saw him, you know, we see each other. He would see me and jump up, be like, "Whoa!" and he give me we give each other a big, strong bear hug and whatnot. He be like, "What's up, G?" He be like, "You're wrong. You still doing 500, 600 push-ups a day?" Yeah, I said, "I got to get it in. Got to stay strong." And I tell him, "Hey, like, you getting strong, even stronger every day." He said, "No question, no question." And Rock, yeah, man, ever since Nova put me on about his passing, I just been thinking about the brother every day, because every time I see him, it was love, we just hug each other hard, man. And every time I leave him, I tell him, I give him a big bear hug, and I be like, "Yo, I love you, Rock. I love you, man." And he be like, "Man, I love you, G."
Good-hearted brother, man. Very good heart.
Good heart. Good heart, brother Sutek. Good heart, man. And
golden.
Like I said, he was for the people. He was for African peoples,
100%.
And at the same time, like James Brown said, he didn't take no mess. But good heart.
That's right.
Good brother.
Real brief. I want to put a face to the name that everybody's been hearing. It's always good to hear the character of a man. When they say that your reputation precedes you, right? People hear about you before they see you. So I didn't want to just throw the physical picture out there. I wanted to speak on who this man was, his framework, his DNA, and how he affected those around him. Because I've been to many ceremonies where our brothers and sisters make their ascension and whatnot. And what always sticks out to me is the impact that people speak on that individuals have in their lives. Not how they look, not what they wore, not what they was driving. None of that matters. What matters is what is this person's heart? What was their work, right?
Yeah.
How did they affect others? And as a result of them leaving or making their ascension, how is that going to inspire and spark those that these people touch? So I want to just share, y'all. I want to share with the audience pictures of our good brother Rock. For the anybody that visited 125th Street, that's like a tourist area in our heydays. People will come from all around the world just to be on 125th Street and see where the magic happened. So I'm sure that y'all may have ran across this brother on many occasions and may not even have known how impactful he was. Because like I said before, just because somebody shows up in front of the camera on YouTube and whatnot, that does not negate everybody else that was out here. 125th Street was like the gears of a Swiss watch. There were many moving parts that had, and those moving parts were responsible for a lot of, they inspired the inspirational givers. Okay. So everybody was not crowding to get in front of the camera. What I remember even, we'll talk about that Sutek in a minute, but there were people, the camera, it wasn't for everybody. But this good brother, he was a rock behind the scenes, and he was a rock in his community. He was a rock amongst the brothers and sisters that he called his beloveds and his brethrens, right? And his peoples and whatnot. He was 10 toes down. He was a loyal, good-hearted, I'm talking about good-natured, a good brother. So the ancestors have definitely gained another warrior. I want to say ashe to that. I for the audience that's out there who do the work and pay homage, I'm definitely putting that brother up there to say, please do the work. Let's pay homage to his spirit and to his legacy. So Nana Asare Nova, I want to know, my good brother, can you give us some insight to the impact that this good brother Rock had on you and had on your father, Dr. Jack Felder, and what he meant to the overall movement on 125th Street amongst the vendors and whatnot?
So, so I knew Rock from when I was probably like from like 88, 89. So you talking about I was like 11, 12 years old. So I remember him. You know, then I was a shorty. So I remember this big, dark-skinned, strong brother. And so me and my dad and my brother, we used to always deliver books. My dad's book on HIV and AIDS to Amin Ra and ISIS, and we would see Rock then there. So you know, I grow up, go to college, coming back and forth to the mart, and then my dad retires around 2000, 2001. So my dad is vending again. So I said, you know, let me come out and help pops. So Rock, you know, is like, yo, brother Nova, you know, because he loved my pops. He really loved my pops. And so me and Rock just struck up a adult friendship. He remembered me as a preteen. Now he's like, yo, this dude is a young man moving, just graduating from university, and love his people the same way as Ronell did. And we just wound up like hooking up and becoming business partners. He was founder, CEO, president of Men of Respect, Men and Women of Respect. He still has a Facebook group where he was selling the audio tapes of Professor Smalls, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark. And so we just had a natural synergy, and we evolved that into combining with my work with books and documentaries and films and stuff, and lectures of the elders before. This is before we had YouTube, and we had to do everything on VHS and then DVD. And we linked, and we brought Men and Women of Respect and Harlem University together. And we was out there right across from the Apollo with Sarnetta, pushing out the documentaries, pushing out the lectures, and you know, and continuing to push the books and educating our community. So, and Rock had been doing this before, like I was grown. You know, Rock had been doing this back in the 80s. Quantu was on 42nd Street. Rock was at Hunter College. And, you know, he just kept that economic spirit. But, you know, like I said, and Ron elucidated on, and Brother Sutek and even Blue and Red can tell you that he was constantly giving knowledge and love and pointing people in the right direction, right? Whether that was economics, whether that was metaphysics. So the impact he had on me was he showed me how to be a responsible adult businessman. And I would say between him, my dad, and Brother Jack, who's here, Sutek, Amin Ra, they gave me that big push when I was in my mid and late 20s, just how to have that work ethic. I mean, Jack basically taught me how to do the festivals. That's Brother Sutek taught me how to do the festivals, how to run the booth, how to break down, how to set up. You know, Brother Rock taught me how to be consistent. You know, how to, I would call him like, yo, bro, because you know me, remember how I used to be Sutek? I'm running out of town. I'm going to Brazil. I'm going here. I used to be like, Rock would always hold my dad down on the business end, so he gave me that cover as a big brother. And, he never, he just never would not, support me in anything I did. Like I said, he was one of the first persons I called when my dad transitioned, because I knew the relationship that they had. He used to always come around and be like, Dr. Felder, my favorite elder. And that was the energy that he worked with. I think larger, what we have to understand is that, especially in this age of narcissism that we live in, right? Everybody is not in front of a camera, right? Some of you people probably have seen the Tech and Nubia, right? And the Happy film, right? We have the brother Taki Chakai Grant here with us that is behind the camera, the man behind the thinking, right? So everybody's not vying for all of these likes and views, right? There are people like me, like Brother Jack, like Brother Tacky, like others that are out here, the Brother Big Man, brother so countless others, right? Some that have recently passed, like Brother Big Man. Others have, gotten older, moved on. We have Brother Dawood, the spiritualist, that has just recently passed. These are people that are pillars. And Rock was like a bedrock of this conscious so-called community and movement that we have. So, and that's another thing he taught me: stay consistent, right? And as I said earlier, I mean, if not for him, maybe I would have gone to Ghana, but he was constantly talking about the Hotel Sana Lodge, right? He was always talking about the work that him and Professor was doing on the ground. So that encouraged me in another way to continue not just going to Africa, but getting involved economically. Now I can proudly say that I'm a landowner in Ghana. You know, I'm a deep practitioner of the Akan tradition, which is mainly practiced inside of Ghana and Ivory Coast, Togo. So I mean, for me, it's like, you know, I'm proud to have walked with that brother. We've gained a mighty elder, and I know him and my dad, Dr. Felder, and him and his pops, Haywood Barber Sr., they're up there, you know, toasting and giving us down cover just like he did when he was with us and walked with us here. So, you know, to Brother Rock, it's all love, it's always respect, and we will do everything not just to lay you to rest with respect and love, because you are a man of those things. We will continue to work through HAPI. We will continue the science of the comedic science of prosperity that you spread, that gospel that you spread to the whole world. And you know, that's what the endearing legacy of an individual like this. I mean, and I want to encourage everybody, you know, whether it's journaling, whether it's video journaling, right? You know, talk about your accomplishments, talk about those that are around you, because we have to tell our stories. We are important, right? I mean, the other night we did Richard's show, and Professor, I couldn't even like I was just like taking mental notes with the story of your life, how much you have written on this world, what the ancestors brought you here to do. I mean, those are the things that are going to inspire and empower us and keep us together as this great Black African family that we are, right? Not all of these European concepts that we're always battling with, but the stories of our survival, the story of our triumphs. And Rock is that story, right? And I just love the brother. I just love the brother. Just love the brother. And I just pass that back to you, Blue. And I would love for Sutek to talk about in the next few minutes, definitely talk about the comedic science of prosperity, which kind of is evolved into Rock's thinking, into the HAPI movement. We definitely need to hear that story as well. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So the floor is open, Brother Sutek.
Yeah, go in.
Okay. Peace to the family.
Peace.
Peace.
Man, when I got the news, peace. Sonetta called me and told me about Rock, man. That really hit me hard. That hit me really, really hard. And I sat back and I just did a lot of reflecting on the brother. Listening to you brothers talk about how y'all met and y'all relationship with him. And me and Rock, I met him through Nova, you know, on 125th Street. And it was like two strong brothers, you know, knowing one day me and him gonna link up. But it was like we was waiting to see who gonna blink first. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of like soured a little bit on the direction that the conscious community was starting to become, because I in my mind, I felt the focus was going away from where we really needed to be. And where we really needed to be, in my opinion, was concentrating on economics. And and when I used to speak about it, you know, Rock would overhear me. And then that's when me and him started to vibe, trying to figure out, how do we click this switch in Black people to get them to focus and understand the importance of economics in our struggle? Me and this brother used to have conversations about this like hours and hours. I mean, on days when we wasn't on the block, he used to call me and say, yo, meet me at there's a library right across from Marcus Garvey Park. And he used to call me up and say, yo, man, come on down here. I want to show you something. And we would sit in that library and we would just talk and just throw ideas back and forth all the time. And like the brother said, he's always thinking steps ahead. You know, me and him, I like to think of myself as a visionary. I know Rock was a visionary. And we used to just sit back and try to think, how can we click? How can we click the switch in Black folks to get them to concentrate on economics? How can we take this conscious community and put the focus on economics? And from there, we felt that everything else would blossom after that. So, me, you know, just through constant conversations, me and the brother said, yo, man, we got to figure out a way to connect Black businesses. So originally, we both came up with we knew economics was a science. You know, economics is a science. And we both highly influenced by Kemet. And we realized that they built their wealth using the science of economics. So we said, well, why don't we call this our organization the Kemetic Science? And what we're trying to do is bring prosperity to Black people. So we called it the Kemetic Science of Prosperity. And originally what we were trying to do was build a website that would connect a lot of Black businesses, that Black businesses come in and market it that way. It'd be like, our website would be like a mall for Black businesses. And, you know, you had two strong bulls, and me and his brother, we would agree, we would disagree, we would battle, we would bump heads, but it was always love. You know what I'm saying? It was always love. And we could always walk away. We could always walk away from it, you know, still brothers, and then see the inside in what I was saying. I'd see the inside what he was saying. You know, me and the brother really got along good. And, you know, outside of all of that, Rock was like, when he was your friend, you knew you had a friend. You know, he wasn't fake. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't be around you if he didn't respect you, see value in you, or, you know, trusted your friendship to him. You know, so I mean, I got just as an aside, and what really let me know that this brother was in my corner, I had got caught up in some nonsense. Wrong place, wrong time. They had me locked up, and I put a call out. Nowadays, you don't remember people's phone numbers because every phone number is just in your phone, and you click on the name. Back in the day, it used to be 100 phone numbers in your head. You can just call them like that. Now, you don't really know anybody's phone numbers. But I only knew one dude's phone number, and that was this other dude. I called him. He got people together to put some money together to come get me out. When I came out, it was him and Rock. You understand what I'm saying? So that let me know, yeah, this brother got my back. This brother's in my corner. But, you know, he just understood the importance of economics, and that being, you know, the foundation. You know, I've heard Professor Smalls speak on it plenty of times about economics, the ecosystem, and how the ecosystem is your economics, and that's the basis where everything else comes out of your culture, everything else comes out of it. And me and him was trying to build on that, and you know, so but what happened was we kind of split off when I had to move to Georgia for family reasons, and you know, he moved on with his branch of Kemetic Science of Prosperity. I moved on with my branch of Kemetic Science of Prosperity. when I moved down here, because I incorporated Comedic Science of Prosperity in Georgia, and I told him, I said, yo, bro, I got, 5,000 shares of Comedic Science of Prosperity in your name down here. You know what I'm saying? So, but Rock was a really, really good brother, and me and him really clicked, behind the economics and piece of our struggle, because him, like me, really believed that was our focus, and a lot of the other stuff that we was doing out there was like distracting from that. And when he saw that, that's what me and him really clicked with one another.
Just remind Sutek of something. I just want to remind you, Sutek, of a moment in history that me and you shared, and how inspired I was by the fact that you decided that you wanted to start making economics your focal point when we were on 125th Street. It was 2014. I was boycotting Sinetta TV. Shout out to Sinetta, my bro. You know what I mean? The OG. But I wasn't necessarily. He was inviting me to come on camera, and I kind of was like denying it. I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm out here working and whatnot. I don't want to get on camera." Baba TV came along and interviewed me, and I was like, yo, I want to interview Sutek about what it is that he's doing and whatnot with the Comedic Science of Prosperity, because he's talking economics, and I kind of feel like that's where the conversation really should be going, especially with the impact that we are having as a collective, not just on 125th Street, but on social media and other places. And there was something going on. There was some kind of conflict going on. I can't remember exactly between who, but you were in it, Sutek. You wasn't talking to somebody at that time. And I remember acquiescing and saying, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do an interview with Sinetta if you wind up talking to this, you know what I mean? Just to kind of like, I kind of, and then we did something called a conscious roll call. I remember the video clearly. It was called a conscious roll call. And that's when me and Sinetta decided to start working again, because we were working together on YouTube in like 2008, 9. And then we kind of paused and I was doing Blog Talk. So I'm just saying that to highlight that you inspired me all the way back then with that conversation to begin to shift. I pivoted that day, you know what I mean? And when I pivoted, I kept going, I really kept going, and I stood behind that man's brand. We helped build the brand up. It became, we went viral on World Star. We had a lot of we did a lot of things in a short amount of time. And the brother Rock as well was always there. Baba Jack Felder, he was always holding it down. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. But Blue got a question he wants to ask.
Yeah, so I definitely can acknowledge.
Oh, let me just say this real quick.
Go ahead.
The brother I probably wasn't speaking to was probably Sinetta. Everybody know it ain't hard to fall out with Sinetta. It is not
I just didn't want
hard
to say it. I didn't want to
fall
say it.
out with Sinetta. So it was probably Sinetta.
Nah, it was Sinetta. I just ain't want
the thing about him is,
well, let me
the
let
thing
me
about
interrupt
the thing about
on one
Sinetta
piece.
is that a lot of people don't realize.
Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead, Sutek.
Yeah, what I was saying is that we want to make sure we put some emphasis on that GoFundMe and on the Telegram, okay? Because we want to be able to take this brother and put him down to the earth as soon as we can, and whatever is left over in those fundraisers. He got 2 boys, that goes to them. So I make sure that we put up the GoFundMe link and the Telegraph link. I don't know whether Nova have some final information on where he's going to be buried, and we should let people know. And we're going to try to do it as soon as we can. That's the real purpose of this. You know, he didn't have a large family, but we are that family. We have that responsibility to take care of his last rites, to give him his last rites of passage, and to take care of those children the best we can. You know, one of them is in college this year, Brother Kofi. So we're so proud he's down at Bowie State, you know, and he's kicking it, you know, boy, smart.
Very
focused. So, I was very proud of that. And him and Kofi was on the social media all the time trying to make that hook up. You know, as fathers, we all who've been out here on the block before y'all was on 25th Street, I was doing my t-shirts and tapes when y'all were little boys. On 25th Street. I remember my first shirt was the By Any Means Necessary Malcolm X t-shirt. You know how far back that goes. So we don't make a lot of money, you know, making our living and trying to teach our people at the same time. You just don't have that space to go and do what many others can do. And so when one of us fall, it's on the rest of us to make sure they're not falling.
That's right. Definitely, Professor.
Yes. So, family, the GoFundMe information is right here listed. At the bottom is pinned. You know, let's make a contribution to a giant. You know what I'm saying? Giving to him is giving back to yourself. You feel me? Because, like the brother says, the ancestors have gained a notable soldier. You know, in this this protracted spiritual campaign that we're in. I wouldn't even call it a war. You know. Brother Sutek, I want to acknowledge the fact that you and ROC were pillars in our community, speaking about economics before it became a wave. But now the community has a financial literacy voice, you know what I'm saying? And I definitely want to salute Brother Taki with the HAPI documentary. You know, every time that I see you, I tell you it was perfect timing. You know, because it gave a backdrop to a conversation that without it, you know, people would probably not even acknowledge it, right? People out here talking finances and financial literacy at this point, but not really acknowledging the ancestral roots that it derives from. So, Sutek, have you been able to observe and see some of the conversations that have been taking place in the community as of lately? How do you feel about that?
Repeat that for me again, brother. Say that again.
Now, I was saying,
for me.
I was saying the fact that financial literacy is now a mainstream conversation in our community and is catching on more so, you know, it's on various platforms and things of that nature. What are your sentiments about that in your observation?
Personally, I have been seeing a lot of different things, but I think people are making it more complicated than it really needs to be. I think I don't really see a economic strategy for independence. What I see is an economic strategy for dependence. It's not really taking us so we have an economy that we control. We're more or less like integrating into somebody else's economy, and that's, in my opinion, the whole civil rights movement and all of that was an attempt to get control of the black dollar, and that's what I see continuing to happen with the economic platforms and stuff that's going on now, that they're really just leading us into being integrated into that system where
Yeah.
I'm not saying to be separate from the system, but have more control over our resources as we work with the system instead of being dependent on the system.
Yes.
Well, that's why you have to integrate your economic, politics, and culture where you live. Economics by itself, we have billionaires and millionaires long before Oprah. And we have a lot of millionaires in this country, but they're part of that system, as you're saying. They didn't create Chinatowns.
Right.
Even when they don't call it Chinatowns, they got Chinatowns in every city in the country where they live. Even when they don't call it Mexican town or Spanish town, they got them everywhere they live because they're controlling, they're tied the economics, the culture, and the politics together. You can't separate the three.
Right.
Economic is the core, the culture is the glue, and the politics is the manager. And you got to keep the three together. Then we'll reach the goal, Jack, that we were trying, because this country is no more integrated today than it was when I was a child. Matter of fact, we are more segregated today than we've ever been, except for our money. See, in the past, our money was segregated with us.
Right.
They found a way to cut that piece out and take that
right.
and leave us in the ghettos across the country. So we have to take that back.
Right.
So the place that they call the ghetto and that we shouldn't be calling the hood will become our neighborhoods that we control economically, politically, culturally, and that we can provide food, clothing, shelter, safety. That's why I got to be very close to Taki and the HAPI movement and ROC, because that's what they were talking about.
Right.
Let's bring those three elements together.
So,
So the core economics can give the foundation to the politics and the culture, and we would be bonded together. You know? And within that, you get your history, you get all the other things that'll let you say, I belong to you and you belong to me, and they don't belong to us. We don't have to make no fuss about it, but we don't give them our money. We give us our money.
Right. So where does, with your recommendation, where does one go to learn this particular methodology? Because they say with an ancestor, the best way to qualify an ancestor is to complete their incomplete work. So as purveyors of this information, and you've read plenty of books, like you said, the brother invited you to the library. People are always asking me for primary sources, like what book can I go read? How can I educate myself? Where would you say that they can derive this information from? Like you said, to give them a little bit of edge, because people are jumping into finances and they're like, oh, I'm here. And they swear that they're doing it. They don't know that they're not dangerous necessarily. There has to be an ideology that goes along with that pushes them a little bit past, their comfort zone. So where can they get that information?
Anything Claude Anderson has done will give you a foot up on it.
Yeah.
But then look at Amos Wilson's Blueprint for Black Power.
Yes.
Those two would be the immediate two pieces I would say work on. And there's enough literature there you could for a year plus of reading, studying, and workshop. And then look at HAPI, the movement, because it's trying to say, let's put it into practice. How do we open businesses? And we've got businesses. And, I've studied in the last few years, our opening businesses haven't gone down. We're opening more businesses, but we're not opening it as us. We want to be a part. We want to be the boutique like them. And that's cool. Our boutique can be better than theirs, but it should be tied to the elements that make our community shine economically. And that's not what's happening now. Jack was outlining nicely. And I think Claude is good at showing how to bring that all together.
Yes, Sutek.
Okay, yeah. I think as the adults work on this piece that the professor's talking about, we also have to look back at who's coming behind us. Because if we don't educate them, if we don't instill in them what we're trying to do, they're just going to come back and repeat and undo everything we already did. So I feel that along with us trying to be more economically literate and create a ecosystem for us, we need to take responsibility for educating our children. We can't let our competition educate our children, because all this education system does is teach black kids how to work for white folks. So we have to instill, we have to take responsibility for educating our children and let them know you spend your money with people who look like you. We just have to take responsibility for educating our children. And I think that as time goes, as the next generation comes in to replace us, the values and the morals and all of that will be in place so that our economic existence can thrive.
So, right. So again, this is going back to education and it's going back to access. So once
It
again,
goes back to 125th Street. Bankers and corporate people and lawyers and doctors, they're the minority in any community.
Yeah.
It's the basic work. Who's selling you the food? Who's selling you the socks? Who's selling you the sneaker? Who's doing your hair? Who's fixing the plumbing? Who's wiring the house? Who's painting the house? Who's putting this? That's the majority of the workers. We've got to let our people know that we have turned our back on the real money in society. The real money is not the Wall Street broker. That's the play. That's just a few folks. The people who are making the bulk of this money and hiring the bulk of the people in the country is the small business working class. And we've allowed foreign people to take that whole space over in our community. You call for a plumber, it's somebody from Indonesia or Hungary. You call for somebody to do your yard, it's somebody from Central South America. You talk about somebody to paint your house, it's somebody from someplace in Russia.
All
and
right.
not us.
So I want to get tangibles
I
because
just had a
again,
new roof
we might
put on my house, and a bunch of Mexicans came
hold on.
roof on my
Right.
house.
So we very well may have, like I said, young people are always asking me for resources, primary sources. Where do I go? What do I do? We're putting ideas on the table. We're saying that education is mandatory, access is mandatory. And Professor James Moores, you're saying to look at the particular vocations in our community that our people might be overlooking, right? To say, all right, this is the undergirding or the underbedding of how societies are built. Okay, so how do we streamline that in terms of um, information or pointing these people in the right direction? What are we specifically saying to them outside of what we're saying to them? Like, should they be going to vocational schools to learn plumbing and carpentry and things of that nature? Should we be unionizing the vendors once again amongst the streets that are dealing with the the early access vocations, like you said, buying socks and drawers and what I'm saying, things for their body? Like, what should we be telling them in order to build
Exactly that. Phil,
economic?
exactly what you're saying. That's what we should be telling them, because that's where the most of our kids who are getting in trouble and getting killed by the police and by each other in too large a numbers every day are the ones who have no jobs. And that's a large number of our young men, especially.
Idle mind is the devil's playground.
And so there's a little group when I came up here to New Rochelle. Most people say, oh, you're up in the white suburb. No, this is one of the oldest black community in New York.
Yeah.
And we started something called a Gathering of Men. And then we formed something now we call the Booker T. Washington Brigade, which is we called some brothers who went, one brother's an electrician, another one was a welder, and another one is a plumber. Those are three things we can do now. And in the Booker T. Washington Brigade, we're trying to do that. What's the word? Something my old brain ain't kicking. Like, we're trying to do that kind of workshop. And then you can look for monies. There's actually monies in the system from your tax money. It's not their money. We paid all that money in as taxes that you can get to help you run these programs, to give these youth, to build the workshops for them, to bring in professionals from the unions. And we were shocked when we tried to work with the union up here. We thought we were going to be broadside. They actually opened their doors.
Wow.
And we got shocked again. We thought maybe 5 or 10 brothers would show up. 50 brothers showed up.
Wow.
Well, I mean, all economics from the way that they teach it is based on labor force.
Yeah.
So those vocational skills know that they need more labor force. So they're gonna have open doors everywhere. You know what I mean? And there's new vocations, there's new skill sets. You know, shout out to our brother Q Butter that's teaching these children in STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics,
Women.
you know, computer coding.
Yeah.
You know, all of these things are a goal, and there's so many openings for them. And we have more than enough able and available bodies to fill these positions. You know, when are we going to get the Happy Institute so we can have somewhere for these children so we can direct them, you know? And I'm not saying intercepting them and teaching them on street corners ain't the thing, you know what I'm saying? But we got this internet and we have mad empty buildings in every state, every city that I go to.
Yep.
It's just
Yeah.
buildings on buildings on buildings, just empty.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the children is they play in the block. You know, we need to get these children from the block into these buildings, and we need to, you know, institute a ROC Institute, you know, presented by Happy, where we're
Right.
teaching financial literacy and skill sets, you know, mathematics. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're teaching them the history of what we did with mathematics, but we're not doing applicable mathematics in real time. If we're the ones who built these edifices, we had to do it with math. We had to do it with engineering. You know, we need to show our children who they are by showing them who they are.
Right. I just want to add something to that. I see the brother Sutek had his hand up though.
Yes, Sutek.
Sutek.
No, all right. So, got brother Sutek.
When you say where do we start, in America we live in a capitalist system, and I don't think enough of the people who are promoting economic platforms really understand how capitalism works. We talk a lot about what we need, but we don't talk about where the money's going to come from to get with what we need. And what Professor Smalls did in Ghana, he was saying earlier, he started a credit union. I started a company called 5,000 Conscious Millionaires. And what it is, it's an investment company where the community comes in and invests $20 a month. You get 5,000 people at $20 a month. That's $100,000 a month that you can go around and invest in Black businesses. We have to discuss where the money's going to come from. For all our ideas, it takes money. And what the system has done to Black people, it has limited their access to capital. You understand? We put our money, at one point in this country, there was over 400 Black-owned banks. 1929, the stock market crash. Some white banks recovered. In 1931, they started the FDIC, where they insured your deposits, but a lot of Black banks couldn't get access to the FDIC, so Black people started putting their money in white banks. And then Black banks started to disappear. I think you might have like maybe 2 or 3 Black-owned banks right now in this country.
You know,
but what they did was limit our access to capital. We have to now turn around and create sources of capital for Black-owned businesses. And that's what I was thinking when I formed the 5,000 Conscious Millionaires investment company.
And I feel you. The barrier between that at this particular point is trust, right? Because we know that the financial conversation has been sabotaged by, you know, people in this community, and it has eroded the trust factor. But my thing is this, you know, post 2010, the universe has answered our prayers, our qualms, you know, and like a lot of the issues have already been solved. We just have not realized it. So decentralized banking is here, cryptocurrency is here, you know, and with cryptocurrency comes the elucidation that you can create currency out with whatever you put value to. That's what people is out here creating new currency every single day
That's
because
what
they don't need to be taught what they already know. We are the ones that still don't get it. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, we can't see value in where it lies. And there's so many places that value lies that people have been able to peg currencies to and run up the bag, if you will. You know, I mean, there's so many ways to raise finances in this current market. You know, people are flipping NFTs and becoming millionaires in a living room at
overnight.
children. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that to say that the children are also looking at this. So they like, y'all ain't figured this out yet. You know what I'm saying? But a 10-year-old did. So we have to also speak to the children to see what are the new methods, what's the new ways that, you know, economies are being formed and finances are being you know, this freakish finance that cryptocurrency and other decentralized finances have become.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of ways to fund stuff. You know what I mean? And the trust factor has been solved with smart contracts. There's digital ways that people can say, okay, I see my money. I know where it's at. I'm no longer worried or concerned about it being misappropriated because that's what the community is known for at this point. You know what I'm saying? So we got to solve those touch points and those issues by implementing the latest and the greatest, you know, solutions that the universe has handed to us. And I would love to have, you know, more of this conversation offline with the good brothers so we can see what we need and go and get it. You know what I mean? Because it is available. And I think that if we moved more so on that in the spirit of our brother's name in terms of legacy, that people will be very much responsive to say, okay, you know what I mean? This has always been y'all conversation. And when I say y'all, I mean Brother Rock, Brother Sutak, you know what I'm saying? And Baba James Smalls, Brother Tacky did a whole film on it. You know what I'm saying? Our brother, Brother Felder, you know, y'all have already taken these steps. You've done transcontinental work.
Mm-hmm.
You've laid bricks on the continent. You've made it possible. The things that people are just talking about, you have done.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see us definitely strengthen this resolve. You know, in case in point, I would just say this to land my plane. Like they circumvented the quote unquote conscious community with the woke movement, the woke situation. But I'm just saying, if you look at it, the way that they specifically refer to it, they call it the woke marketplace and
Yes.
it's valuated at $44 billion.
Economics.
$44 billion. So there's people just having the same conversations that we having and they monetizing it
Mm-hmm.
a million times over, you know, as part of a global conversation. That's not as dangerous, maybe, as we might be speaking on platforms or on corners or what have you, but they figure something out. And there definitely is value in what it is that we have brought to the world in these conversations that we haven't, we just have not, you know, properly monetized it. And that's where the money's been all the time.
Peace. I just want to add something to this. We always got to keep in mind that we built pyramids without money. And I do realize that it was at a time before money existed. But our number one resource, when we talk about economics, is each other. And the brother Sutek kind of alluded to that in terms of coming together with the conscious, I don't remember the name, but that format. And, Brother Nova kind of opened up with the GoFundMe information when he was talking about how that's just an African concept. When we understand that we are each other's number one resource, we can still build pyramids and move mountains as we once did. You know, the important thing about HAPI and what it showed me that I may not be a rich person at this point, but I'm tremendously wealthy. And my wealth comes in the resources of the people that I know. You know, so we have each other in these tremendous platforms and just everyone is connected to something. if we can learn how to tap into each other and learn how to work within ourselves, we can do this again. You know, it's not really that difficult. Um, and just to kind of make it simple, you know, Brother Rock often talked about KSP and often talked about Sutek, and he wanted to connect us for a very long time. And by that time, you know, you already made your move down south, but he would say, "Yeah, I want you and Jack to kind of get together and talk." But we would always kind of get back into just what is it? What is it that we need? How can we move this forward? And just doing the whole project and everything else, we realize that the real economics lies in the power of each other. And if we learn how to tap into each other in a real way, we don't have to worry about money because the money is always there. You know, the math was very simple. $20 a month, that's $100,000. You know what I mean? So it's just real simple, but it's just figuring out ways to kind of come together. And like the brother Blue said a minute ago about just trusting each other to be able to work together in those ways. So that's really, you know, where it's at. Is economics is really the role of economics starts between the relationship with people, and that's something the brother Simon said in the film. You
Financial
know what I mean?
systems are pegged on human activity. You know what I'm saying? Financial markets are pegged on human activity, the fluctuation of human activity. So I stepped back and said, okay, well, humans are the currency. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, 100%. That's something we can give to the youth.
Yeah.
You know, we teach the youth pretty much that, you know, they need to start learning how to work together amongst themselves, you know, forming just little like just unions and learning how to save their money and just little things that kids can do. You know what I mean? So the blueprint for us is simple. The blueprint is all goes back to what Dr. Jeffries calls the 3 C's: community, cooperative, collective, you know, building. And that's how the pyramids were built. It wasn't, you know, there was no money there. It was people just coming together and working together.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a currency exchange.
Absolutely.
You feel me? Because they were still expending energy and time and effort.
Absolutely.
That's always been a currency exchange. And
so the question is, what are we talking about? Money or economics? You know what I mean? Economics is that currency exchange.
You know,
and that currency exchange, that exchange of energy is always there.
It's a tool.
Right.
Money is just a tool of economics. Money is just one of the tools of economics. In this country, people are the currency. When you become a citizen, you become the currency of this country. You know, and you are the currency that this country uses to borrow money from the central banks.
100%.
You're that currency. So, you know,
that's why the State Department will go crazy.
I want to connect with you, brothers. I really think that if the like minds don't come together and unify, then the people behind, if we can't expect the generations behind us to come through and unify if we don't unify now. You know, because the opposition team is giving our youth a better plan than we are. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's a battle for the hearts and the minds of the people.
Has a better plan for our youth. They selling better than we selling.
They're marketing to our youth.
We need to organize.
Well, just remember this: you got to keep the 3 together. You can do all the economics in the world if your politics isn't in place and your culture isn't in place. Ain't nothing going to happen. You can do all the culture in the world because we've done the culture up,
right?
But if your politics ain't in place and your economic ain't in place, ain't nothing going to happen. Those 3 things must be married.
Yes.
And yes, I agree, Sutek. If those of us who say we're in the conscious space can't pull it off, then what do we expect of the unconscious?
Facts.
And I agree with the new currencies, Phil. We have to get more educated on that. That's where Rock was in the last few weeks, last few months, last year or 2 of his life.
Yeah.
We talked about that because I wanted to come in. He said, no, let me figure this stuff out. And then when I figure it out, I'm going to show you how to get in. And every week they were having these meetings because he would send, he would text you the link for the meeting.
I want to dedicate some time and come up to New York and share what
and so forth.
I've been able to learn, bring some of my, my associates with me, you know what I'm saying, that are kind of like forerunners in this space.
Yeah.
It's imperative at this time, that we have these
19
conversations and we
BYF
do it in the spirit of rock. You know what I
Chitaldi.
mean? Because I knew who he is, not was. I know who he is. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? He's the ancestors that's with us. His RIP stands for remain in power,
Mm.
right? Because he's a pillar. Like there's not a day that I could walk down 125th Street and not see or feel him.
Right.
So the last time I was graced with his physical presence,
I remember you see that white hat, you wear the white Yankee hat.
right.
You just see that coming down the block.
I was in Harlem and I stopped by a vendor's booth. It was a new vendor on the block. He had some comedic gear. A few, notches down from H&M in front of the state building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing business with the brother, you know what I'm saying? And out of the vehicle steps Rock,
Mm-hmm.
and he gave me a glowing review unlike I've ever had from him before. You know what I'm saying? He spoke very affirmative about the work that was being done. He gave me my roses and I was moved like, wow, you know how much that means coming from you?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Of all people. And I was very much moved in my heart. And they be like talking about making first impressions. And it's like that would be the remaining impression that I have of him. We got to make impressions on one another in all of our encounters because we never know. Right. So the brother left me with something that I will always treasure. And I can only express, to the audience, the people who may be hearing this and feeling it, but may not necessarily know the brother. If you know us, then you know him.
Yeah.
I'm saying allow him to be a direct reflection of who we have ultimately become, the work that was put into to us, the straightness of our spine.
Right.
When you saw Rock, he was that. He was a the Jed pillar. He was a rock.
Yes. Definitely a Jed
You
pillar.
couldn't get no BS around that rock. You know what I'm saying? You got to go the other way or you gonna break yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We need more men like Rock in every community. You know what I'm saying? But we can multiply the influence and the impact of a Rock with an institution in his name that really teaches financial literacy. Like you said, from the aspect of all threes incorporated. You know what I'm saying? That triple C. You feel me?
I definitely will. I have an organization now I'm part of. It's called Bridging Africans and Black Americans up here, and we primarily do a lot of work, community work in the Bronx. But I'm the co-director of education, and one of the things that, as we are formulating our strategies going forward, economics and the three C's are definitely at the core. The ED, the executive director, we spoke the other day, and he said he wants to do financial literacy. So of course, I thought about you and Red, uh, coming on. I thought about Dr. Jatali coming on in 19. Even we're reaching out. I didn't even Blue. I didn't even tell you. Like I don't even know if you know. Uh, 2022 is back on for the Black History Activity Book.
Yes.
Okay, October 1st.
Hmm.
I don't know if Andrew has reached out, but
I reached out to him.
okay, great. We're thinking about getting 19 keys and you guys. So this is definitely part of moving forward. We're not going to decouple politics, culture, and everything else. We understand, I think, at this point in time, that's the only way we can move forward, right? And I think another thing we have to realize is exactly what Taiki brought up is that we exist beyond this concept or this tool of money, and we have to exist and also exist beyond the confines of this system that we find ourselves in. This is why I think we've been pushed to go to the continent and do direct business. I sat down with my mom today and was just talking about, why I'm not jumping in and out of certain things economically and trying to build a base, a stronger base here in America, right? And also a base on the continent to where we can, shuttle funds, people, because we have to look at the world realistically. We're in a very, very tentative situation, right? And it's always been like that for our people. But I think now we have enough eyes on the situation to actually be able to see what is to come. We know where we've come from, right? But now we have to look and see out here what's really going on and make decisions based on everybody's seeing what's going on with this White War 3 thing. Let's call it what it is, right? That's what Dr. Felder would call it, right? My dad, White War 3. And we're seeing how our people are being treated at borders, how we are being treated inside of countries, right? And we're talking about the geopolitical cycle, geopolitical nature of certain things, but the economics is central, our culture is central, because there's a book that's written by a Nigerian brother called Capitalist Nigger, right? I think that's a great read, I think, for everybody in this conversation, and of course watching us live tonight. Like, and we'll watch this video because it talks about, right, this struggle between balancing these two worlds. We're not from, and me and Jack used to go back and forth on this all the time years ago when I was a little younger. But that's something we have to look at, right? How do we juggle our responsibilities here in the West, but then still be global, still be loyal to our movement and our people? And I think another lecture, I think that's overlooked, is one by Dr. Anthony Browder, and he talks about the economics of culture, right? That was a very great lecture. Me and Rock used to push a lot in the community to the family because it talks about that cohesiveness, that glue, right? Anything that we do, it has to be a benefit for all of us, right? I am past the stage in my life when I want a big car, a big house, some new J's, right? This is about the legacy. And I think one, at the center has to be our African family, right? I think two, we have to have our communities in mind, and we always have the community piece. We always have to think about how are the elders and how are the children being treated, right? And that's when I think about ROC. That's what comes to mind, and this is what we're even doing here, right? Tonight, this is an economic conversation, right? Because we as the community are economically responsible for my brother Ronell Rockwell Barber, right? When you go to the continent, my godfather passed, right? We collected thousands of CDs to bury him. I remember when my grandmother in 2009 in Kenya passed, right? The family didn't have to do anything. Like, we didn't talk about insurance policies, all this stuff. The community got the food together, collected the money. In each group, the elders had their role, the women had their role, the men had their role, young people, young adults had their role. So we're not talking about something that we don't understand how to do. I think we're talking about just pivoting and seeing things from multiple perspectives and being dynamic enough to recognize those things. So with the family, I just want to say, red and blue, you guys are my brothers through and through. You guys are amazing. And the work that y'all are doing is second to none. And I'm proud to see where we all have come from and where we are and where we are still yet to go. So thank you to the family on KTL Media. Thank you for the donations. I see them coming in. Please share this video and keep ROC at the center, right? He's the Jed pillar. He was a Jedi, right? He walked that walk and talked that talk. And Professor will tell you, if somebody around you got out of line, he put them in line. So Black people, love you. Let's get in line. Thank you, Red and Blue. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Brother Tack, please take us out.
You said something? I'm sorry, Blue. Say that again.
Take us out, brother.
You take us out. I know you had an announcement.
Yeah. So just in the memory of ROC, we want to announce the One Africa Power and Unity Conference, because it's essentially that's what we're talking about right now, the power and unity coming together. When I think about ROC and the HAPI movement, I think about the elements of HAPI, what it means in terms of just its symbolism itself. The tying of the of the lotus and the papyrus plants as one. The strong community, and that's what we are. That's the mission here. That is the mission here, and that is the mission of the HAPI movement. So we have the Power and Unity Conference in Detroit, April 30th and May 1st, Saturday and Sunday. I believe I sent you brothers the meme and the Eventbrite link. If you can go ahead and put it in the chat, or put it up on the thing. We have about 12 different scholars. Dr. Milana Karenga, Dr. Malefe Sante, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. Rosin Jeffries, our very own Professor James Small, Brother Saram Hotep, Dr. Susan Tata, Brother Jabari Azaze, Brother Infudishi. I think I'm not really sure. I think I may have missed one person, and also Dr. Theophilo Benga. So it's going to be a powerful conference. It's something we was going to do in Kemet, but we had to reschedule that due to a lot of negative media, a lot of the BS that came around that. But right now we have the live stream piece as well. So if you can't join us in Detroit, you can definitely be a part of us on the live stream. So definitely want to, if you get a chance, we want to definitely share that link to people, let them know what's going on and how could they get tickets.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we're gonna put it up on the screen right now. All right, 1 second. I think they sent it to the KTL email. Yes, and if anybody has any last words, that would be the perfect time.
Professor, I would like to yield the floor to you and to take us out with some powerful words and maybe a small prayer and gesture to your son, our brother.
I second.
I try not to fit into the Western system. We don't have to pray. We just prayed. That's what that discussion was.
Yes.
That's praying.
Yes,
we've come together to figure out what the next step is. Brother Rock made the last step on this earth in the physical way. He'll always be here with us because there's no such thing as death. That energy now will affect us differently and will affect us in different places.
Yes.
Study your history, study your culture. So if you think we can do that in one book or 1 month or 1 week, no, you must study your history every day of your life. You must learn the culture of Africa. The tools of culture is music. The tools of culture is dancing, clothing, but culture is your value systems, your belief system, your worldview, that communal, collective, cooperative thing, the thing that got us all here together. We've all known each other in this movement towards trying to better our people over decades.
Yes.
And we're still here because one of us on the battlefield had to yield his time. Yes. And so we have to take our responsibility to make that journey for him and his family complete.
Yes.
So we can go forward and do the things that we all been talking about doing. And remember, I'm an elder. I'm like mid-70s plus, right? So that means you brothers, this is yours. The ball has been handed over. I'll be here as long as I can, trying to advise and give a little spirit, and push. But it's about, let's become God again and stop being afraid to say it, okay? Let's become the center of the universe. That's what we really are. But the white men have spooked us. We want to be submissive. We're in submission to the will of God. The hell with that. That's not true. That's not African, okay? We're saying we're African, then we playing the worship game like them. I don't play that game. We are the universe. Let's act like it.
That part. Yeah, that's it right there.
It's a wrap.
That's it right there. We're going to show this flyer. All right.
To this day. To this day.
Yes, indeed, family. Screenshot that, family in the audience. You know what I mean? And let's tap in. Again, the information for the GoFundMe is listed. Okay. Put that up right here. And yes, next time, hopefully that you will be hearing from us as a collective. We will be speaking on what our next plan, our implementation of the plan is the next step. Okay. With that, I appreciate everyone who has participated in this monumental event this evening. May our brother continue to remain in power, right, and rise in prosperity. Okay.
Peace and blessings.
I say.
Peace and blessings.
Black
Love you
love,
all.
Black power. Peace.
Peace, love, and light, family.
Peace.
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 Black power.
Black
Black
power.
love.
Black love.
Death
Black
to
unity.
the Negro.
You know?
That's for you, Sutek.
Death to the Negro. There you go.
Death to the Negro.
Always.
I love y'all brothers.
Death to
man.
the
Death to the Negro.
I love y'all brothers, man. I love y'all brothers. Yo,
I love you as
Blue.
well.
Yo, Blue.
Yes, sir.
Ask Red what I told him. Ask Red what I told him on Instagram.
What you told me on? What you told you on Instagram? Oh, you proud? Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
We
You
all
know what I'm saying? Again, to be able to see myself through the eyes of people who I highly respect, who I know, advocated for the things that we are, at a pinnacle place in our life that we can now demonstrate. I do this for us. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I am a reflection of the work that you put in into this mind. I heard you. You feel me? And
I hear you, bro.
I'm always gonna honor, you know what I'm saying, that pledge, that pledge to know the ledge, you know what I mean, and rise the flag of financial literacy, responsibility, solvency, and supremacy. All right.
Universe. Stop acting like
Black power, family. I'm out.
Black love.
Indeed.
Love y'all.
I love y'all, man. I love y'all, man.
Me
Yo,
too.
Still here.
I love seeing
Taught
y'all,
us
man. I
all.
love
Peace.
seeing y'all.
Taught us.
I love you, brothers.
Thank you, my brother. All right. But
All
we
right,
enjoyed
Blue.
it, man.
Red.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's link up.
Yeah.
I'll come out to
Blue.
the country.
I love you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I'm gonna come up to Atlanta one weekend, cause next time y'all there, I'm gonna get with y'all.
Okay.
All right.
All right, my brother.
All right. Peace. I'm out.
Peace. And to the Know the Ledge family, we will be on Brother Rich's program immediately after this. All right. So tap into Black Magic 363. Peace, love, and light.